see how much kidnappers are picking from victims.
My goodness. Problems with the, I think all the stakeholders with us, we need to get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
So the support that is needed, and once you get the support, your energy will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning, viewers. This is another edition of Inside Nigeria on a Thursday morning, November 18, 2021. My name is Ode Gladibo. As usual, I have my co-anchor with me, Winifred. Okay, but Winifred, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers out there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's presentation.
As usual, we have our guest analyst, Samaila Musa. Samaila Musa is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst. Good morning, Samaila.
Good morning.
Welcome to Inside Nigeria this morning.
Thank you.
Winifred, we have a lot to dissect on the front pages of the newspapers. The NSAS report in Lagos causing some, arguments here and there. And the issue of building collapse, though we don't have anything like that today, maybe till another time. And the issue in the judiciary as well.
Oh, yes.
Well, viewers, as usual, we're starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Leadership. On the front page of Leadership this morning, conflicting court orders, 64 days after probe panels yet to sit over erring judges. Conflicting court orders, 64 days after probe panels yet to sit over erring judges. Accused judges yet to make appearances. The panel can begin hearing if the judge's lawyer arranged for the briefs. Senior lawyers asked CJN, NJC to expedite action. Well, Samaila, I know you remember about 2 months ago when we started seeing conflicting judgment about ABGA leadership and the PDP leadership crisis as well. And at the point, the judiciary itself became embarrassed, and CJN, gave an order that was stopped. And they also announced that the culprits, we face investigative panel. But here is leadership saying 64 days after, nothing has been done.
Yes, 2 months after.
Yeah, you see, I'm actually not surprised. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will also not be surprised because, unfortunately, this kind of attitude has actually, been our culture in every facet of our lives, from the executive to the judiciary, to even the legislative arm of government. So you hear people, once you start hearing setting up of panels, setting up committees, people, as a matter of fact, a lot of people were shocked that something is coming out of the panel on NSAS. Yes, you understand? Because it's just our way of doing things. Nobody will ever tell you anything again. Yes. When these panels were, set up, of course, people also said you won't hear anything because they are all the same, so to say. And they are yet to prove that to be wrong. Because I don't even see any seriousness when you think the judiciary, the entire judiciary is feeling embarrassed or felt embarrassed by a particular issue, as sensitive as this, then you go about setting the panel as if you're trying to make a mockery of the whole thing when you say, oh, they are now supposed to be represented by lawyers. I thought these are members of the judiciary themselves, the judges. So why do you want to? It's just about, you're trying to bring sanity into a system. Then you are now making it look like, oh, you can bring in a lawyer, you can bring in 10 SEN to come and defend you. You get for what you have done that is glaring to everybody, because we know what lawyers do in the long run. Try to make it look like, no, my client is actually not commit anything. It actually does not make sense. Just, you don't even need to make whatever you want to do, either the sitting, the panel, you don't need to make it public. Perhaps maybe the whatever verdict you arrived at can be public in the long run. Maybe you want to respect the judges. You understand? It can be behind closed doors. The trial can be behind closed doors. But what you want to achieve is just to bring sanity into the system. When you now begin to tell them to go and bring their judges, their lawyers, and it doesn't make any sense.
In every situation, when someone is accused of anything, that person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. And at the same time, that person you're accusing of wrongdoing also deserves fair hearing. So I think in order to ensure fair hearing, that's why they are wasting 64 days. They want to make things ready.
Look, it's beyond even the 64 days. These are your people.
Yes.
It's leadership now. You have a correspondent in the National Assembly. You heard that he committed something there. You call him in here and you not tell him on your way, bring your lawyer.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
But
The National Assembly have their own process of discipline members. Maybe the judiciary.
It's not a court, it's a panel. So
Because what they're trying to say now is that once his lawyers are able to defend him well, this can also happen again. It will be dramatized, and this can also happen. Some judges, and you see in law, there's always a precedence.
Yes.
Another time somebody did the same thing, because he will now refer that in so case and so case. You understand? So in the long run, it's just an effort in
I don't think it's good for judiciary, because the confidence in judiciary will be declining.
Yeah.
Judiciary
but
itself
in any case,
can be treating the bad ones with kid gloves.
I said earlier, the CJN's intervention actually had gone a long way to curb this forum shopping by politicians. You understand? So,
but we can see
and
that
the
it's
message,
in the mouth, not in action.
The message was very clear when that panel was set up, or when he tried to caution them, and that will go a long way to actually stop some of them. But when you start making a mockery of it by saying come with your lawyer, so if they win at that panel, then other lawyers or other judges who were afraid when this pronouncement was made can actually resume back to the illegality.
If the CJN had not intervened like he did, I don't think PDP would have had a successful convention. Like he did.
Yeah.
That is just the truth. And even the Anambra pools that had to
have been thrown into legal control.
Exactly.
A lot of.
Well, thank God for the sanity, but I think the wrong need to be punished in order to avoid a future occurrence. We need to move away from that to the front page of our sister publication, the National Economy.
National Economy says salaries, emoluments consume 90% of sex revenue. Salaries, emoluments consume 90% of Security Exchange Commission's revenue. And on the rider, we have Commission used 8 billion naira of 9 billion naira revenue to service staff. We will soon retire 152 top management staff with fat salaries. The Director General of Sectors Senate. That's what we have on
the front page of National Economy. Samaila, in government MDAs and GOEs, they have been classified into three. The MDAs, Ministry, Department, and Agency, and government-owned enterprises, GOEs. Some of them are fully funded by government budget.
Yes.
Some of them are partially funded by government budget. Some of them are not funded at all by government budget. They are self-funded. So one of them is the Security and Exchange Commission. It generates its own money, it funds itself. Wherever we have operating surplus, we remit that to the government coffers. But then this revelation was made at the Senate budget defense exercise, where it was discovered that 90%
of its revenue
was used for salaries and emolument. Is this sustainable? Does it make sense?
It's not sustainable, and that's why we're having issues we're having even as a government entirely in Nigeria.
Okay.
This revelation is only coming out because SEC happens to be one of the agencies who are funding themselves through whatever they generate. There are so many other government agencies that they are not funding anything, and so you don't get to hear anything. And that's why you see issue of ghost workers. Even this one that SEC is doing, with all the due diligence in place, you will hear a lot of things are going down out of this amount that is mentioned. Perhaps maybe 40% of it is actually going into some ghost accounts.
Yes, that's some private pockets.
Yeah, you understand?
Even if it is not ghost, are we supposed to do that? Spend 8 billion out of 9 billion
revenue
for your staff.
And when you look at it, SEC is not one of the agencies that has offices scattered all around the place. You understand? So you'll be wondering who and who, what are they collecting, what amount? But you see, beyond that is...
Sorry, Samantha, look at that second right there. The DG, Director General of SEC, actually gave some insight as to how the money is being spent. He was now telling the senator, okay, wait, hold on. We will soon retire 152 top management staff with fat salaries, meaning they are the one consuming the larger part of that money.
And when they won't be bold to make this statement. If these people are, their offices are in like a do, and you can't do without. These are, most of these are redundant. You know, I think it was here I once shared how a former GMD of NNPC said he stopped taking tea in the office because he was more or less forced to employ about 25
to prepare
tea girls in his office. He said so because he said it's annoying. He said he stopped taking tea in the office, and these are girls that are taking huge salaries.
What you said is true. You know, SEC for a start of SEC, this is Amela. They are giving wardrobe allowance.
Yes.
You know that in SEC, I know people who work there.
Yeah.
They are giving all manner of incentives.
There are a lot of them. Even in NDIC where I served, you know, you collect breakfast. It's not like they serve you breakfast. That money, you collect money from breakfast. It has been budgeted for. So weekly, every Friday, you go in there and collect your breakfast money. And some of these guys that are collecting breakfast money, when you hear the amounts they are collecting, wow.
These are frivolous spending.
You understand?
And we should be concerned for one reason.
You know, we also saw the budget of FROS. It's even bigger than some state governments.
Well, FRS is a revenue generating agency. The moment it can bring more money for us, it also deserves some,
yes, they are giving about
motivation for staff to work.
They are giving about 5% or 8%.
Yes, to service, yes. But this issue of SEC should be of concern for one reason. You know, SEC is a regulatory agency.
Yeah.
So if there is corruption in SEC as a regulator, how would that corrupt regulator?
No, but don't forget that we once had a DG of SEC. I can't remember the amount she was spending in Transcorp Hilton to stay there.
Was it
a government? No, even beside the woman that came, or Teru or something. Ote. You understand? When you see here, people, we are not talking about private firms. Even private firms, how many private firms can afford to say your MD or your DG stays in the Transcorp Hilton, not went on visits or on official assignment, permanently in a suit?
When there are government houses,
that you know that how much they spend in per night is close to 500,000 per night. So, and we're saying we are all civil. You know, some people feel, oh, we are all civil servants, and somebody else just goes permanently where they pay per night. You know, so really, these are some of the things, and I won't be surprised. Apart from the DG, there are some other people who they just can say, oh, this weekend I want to stay in the hotel. They will have an account where you can write that to say relaxation something, all manner. So I think their papers, they need to be audited properly. Their papers need to be checked. How do the spending got to this amount? You know, because I don't even want to believe it's just salaries alone that is copying this much.
It's corruption.
But my worry is that even as they are defending their budget in NAT, it's not actually doing this oversight to say, you know, you can't have it. But
no, you see, one thing you need to understand is that you need to understand one thing, that the backbone of corruption is even the NAS itself. You see, when you hear people jostling for chairman of this committee, it's not because they want to serve, they are jostling to serve their country. Whichever money comes in, the money is split into two halves. The chairman takes half, 50%, the rest of the committee members share the rest. You understand? So all this spending in SEC, they had this other Senate committee on SEC or whatever committee this falls under, and the House committee on SEC, they also are aware of this and they are also a part of it. That's just the truth of what's going on. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We need to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the newspaper review segment. We'll be right back.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. It's still Inside Nigeria this Thursday morning, November 18, 2021. And of course, we are still having Samaila Musa with us in the studio. Samaila Musa is an Abuja-based public affairs analyst. But we need to go to the next newspaper on our Winifred. We have New Telegraph.
Yes.
On the front page of the New Telegraph this morning, many core members are drug addicts, according to the National Youth Service Corps. Many core members are drug addicts, NYSC, says female copper brought over 100 diazepam tablets to camp. We had one suffering from withdrawal syndrome. Some scream at night. All this according to the NYSC. Samaila, I know you are involved in an advocacy to combat illicit drug and the rest of them. Now, this is a story for you.
What a damning report.
What do we do? Many core members are drug addicts.
You see,
Are we not in the sort of trouble?
yeah, you see, what is happening here is just what they do is in statistics. You can just use just a small sample to draw an inference. This is a representation of the Nigerian society at large. You understand? That's what's going on right now in every facet. Forget about whether it's called members or not, whether it's some staff in CBN or in SEC or whatever it is. They are all hooked on drugs. This is what majority of our youth, maybe perhaps where you see less of this drug abuse thing is, the downtrodden of the downtrodden. And they also abuse, but it's not this type. You understand? So the society is something else. I don't even know whether it's, I would say we need to start praying or what we need to do. I can tell you on authority that the CBN governor said it to us, on a visit, that they had to open a rehabilitation center in Lagos for some of their new intakes. You understand? Of course,
children of the rich.
Of the rich. You understand? That because you can't send them home. He said once they get to the office in the morning, they put their head on the table, they are gone. Until somebody is tapping them at close of work. You understand?
So what are they doing there?
What are they doing there? They are not doing anything. Maybe 60-70% of them went to school abroad. This is what they came back with. Even the ones that are here, anywhere you see, even our girls, where they are carrying bottled water, 80% of them is drugs that are inside the bottled water they are holding in their hands. That's how bad things have gone in this country. People abuse all manner of things. Perfume is now being used to get high.
Perfume, the one we use.
Yes.
It's a chemical.
Yes. I mean, which of the drugs is not harmful?
They ingest it or
they sniff it. They know how to sniff it. They get high with it. Sock away. People now use sock away to get high. Pawpaw leaf, people now use it to get high.
Animal gums.
So all manner, everything you can lay your hands on within us can be used. People are now going on research. As you are closing the borders against this particular drug, they are looking for alternatives within, locally to improvise for it. You understand? Someone's wife went for a wedding in somewhere in Kano, and then they stole her when she wanted to do ablution. And in the process of, calling police in, because the husband is actually a police officer, he uses police connection, and called the nearest police station, and they cordoned the house, and they asked them to submit their bags. The married women who came for the wedding, submit your bags in the sitting room of the house. So the police officers will stretch your bag from the window and say, who is the owner of this? You say, it belongs to me, come inside. So they empty it in your presence so that it doesn't look like we're just searching your bags in your absence. Out of about 80-something women, they could not pick 10 bags that are without the abusive drugs in it. We are in a trouble in this country because you see, the people who you feel you're now left with the responsibility of taking care of the kids, because you as the head of the family is gone out, or you've gone out to where you can also enjoy yourself. Now the women who are saddled with that responsibility are now getting high on drugs. These are the people who are, and I tell you, I've gone for seminars in some of the secondary schools around FCT from GS1 to 3. Sometimes I just want to test their knowledge of what do you know about drug abuse. And I say,
what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? What's the solution?
You see, the solution is for all of us to actually put our hands on deck. Parents you need to check. Don't say, oh, my children are innocent. You need to check their bags on a daily basis. In fact, sometimes you need to badge on them in their room.
The type of friendship they keep.
You understand? And check what do they have in their bags. Because a lot of times we say, oh, I brought my own children up well, forgetting that those ones that are not being brought up well, they attend the same school, they're in the same class, they are friends. You understand? So that's why you need to put a tab on your own children, to know what they're up to per hour, per minute. What are they doing? What are they, some of them have phones. What are they actually googling? And, technology is good. You can actually find out what they have used the phone to do.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah,
so that you understand. So these are some of the things we can also actually be doing.
So it's a collective responsibility.
It is a collective responsibility.
Samala, thanks to you. We need to go to the last paper on our menu this morning, which is the Punch.
Punch
Winifred,
newspaper
what do we have?
today says Nigeria risks United States arms embargo over alleged protesters' killings by soldiers. Nigeria risks U.S. arms embargo over alleged protesters' killings by soldiers. On the rider, the couple of stories, it says AI director asks U.S. Congress to apply Lehi laws against Nigeria. Government officials risk visa ban. Withdraw privileges, says Akinterewa. PDP reps ask Blinken to probe violence against NSAS protesters. That's all.
Well, this is as a result of the report of the panel of inquiry on the NSAS against police brutality in Lagos and submitted to the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And this also is happening at the same time the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is due in Nigeria in a few days' time. Now, Amnesty International Director is asking U.S. Congress to apply Lehi laws against Nigeria, and the headline is also saying we risk arms embargo because if it is established that soldiers actually violated people's rights at Lekki toll gate case, there will be consequences. But I know people are doubting. Yeah, that report is not correct. That report is not true. People died. People did not die.
Some people say that it was leaked. Even there was
yes, it was leaked, but they said there are errors, there are this, there are that. I think what is important is something happened, yes, or it did not happen. And where do we go from here?
You see, what I foresee in the whole thing is, let me even start with the issue of whether it was leaked or not. I think the panel has done a good job.
Yes.
You understand? Except if anything happens to that report, some persons are feeling, oh, this is going to indict us, so we better do something about it, which is the same Nigerian system. You understand? But I think they would rather, they are better to have their integrity intact and not tamper with that report. What is in circulation is actually the exact report. You understand? And so many people have commended him. This is the first time in a very long time that a panel was actually set up
and allowed to work.
And report came out. You understand? So, and this will go a long way. And I'm sure this is a pointer to say, oh, the whole world is actually watching. Where it's just a small panel that you think you constituted and you felt, oh, it's just within Lagos State. The whole world is actually watching and listening to what is happening. And, it's actually boosted the morale of Nigerian youths to feel you belong to a country who actually perhaps can get it right someday if things like this are coming.
Just like you mentioned earlier, many people, especially those up there, did not actually expect that the report to be the way it was. Some people queried that why the way it was leaked to the press. I didn't go through the normal bureaucratic process where it should have been kept in a cupboard.
Or maybe some persons felt it might be tempered when it gets up there, so it's better they quickly just link it to the public.
All right, so let's talk to one of the people involved in the whole of this. Additional Tosin is a youth advocate and a public affairs analyst and activist as well, and I know he's very much involved in the NSAS advocacy in Lagos. Additional Tosin will be joining us from Lagos as we speak to share his thoughts about the NSAS panel report. Good morning, Additional.
Yeah, good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How is Lagos this morning?
Yeah, Lagos is cool with the usual traffic.
All right, Tosin, you are involved in all of this in October last year when the NSAS protest was on, and now 1 year after we have seen what happened. The panel of inquiry in Lagos has submitted reports. We have seen the report as well, and we have seen the comments, diverse comments greeting the leaked report. Now, tell us your own view. What are you expecting from the governor of Lagos or the government of Lagos State? What are you expecting after this report has been submitted to the state government?
Okay, yeah. Thanks for having me. So yeah, the report was submitted on Monday, and I read the report back to back, and I've written an article in that regard, and we are actually doing a countdown for it. Now, first of all, we are impressed that the panel was allowed to work, because one thing in Nigeria is that panels don't work. In fact, in case you don't know, about 75% of the panel set up by various state governments for this same purpose, they've not delivered till date, including the FCT in Abuja. So we are impressed that Lagos, that is at the forefront of the Lekki massacre issue, they presented their report. My expectation is very simple. The governor set up a panel to bring out the white paper in 14 days. So today we are like 11 days from that day. And my first expectation is that we want the white paper to be produced. And because the reason why it needs to be produced is because the governor has been a center point of condemnation, criticism, and everything. And it's a big avenue for him to regain the trust of the people, because leadership is about the people and the leaders. So he needs to regain the trust of the people. And also, the governor needs to use that avenue to make sure that justice is served. To make sure that justice is served. People can't just die like that. A lot of recommendations have been made, and we are very sure that the white paper that will be presented will not go against the recommendation made by the Justice Doris Okuobi panel. So our expectation is that the white paper will be released by 29th of November, after which there will be structural process for justice to be made. Those that will need to be sued to court, the government is meant to do that. Those that need to be relieved of their duty, they should do that. Also, the federal governments and the Nigerian police, they are also advised to partner with government to support the Lagos government efforts in bringing culprits to justice. People can't just engage in extrajudicial killings, harassment, and they go scot-free wearing the police uniform. The police is a mirror of the society. They are meant to protect us. They are meant to be our friends, our brothers, our sisters, not a point of agitation for us, not a point of concern. So my expectation is that, first of all, the white paper will be released in the next 14 days, as declared by the governor, and the white paper will be released in consonance with the recommendations of the judicial panel.
All right, Tosin, while you are speaking, you commended the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, for allowing the panel to work without interference. And you also stated what is expected of him in order to right the wrong that have been done in the past. But 2 days ago, when this report was submitted and the government announced the constitution of the white paper committee under the chairmanship of the Lagos State Attorney General, Moyosore Onigbanjo, a lot of people are saying, well, this is an attempt to actually cover up what the panel report is all about. Do you share in this sentiment that the white paper committee deployed to cover up what the panel recommended?
I will say yes and I will say no. Yes, because people have the right to their opinion. No, because I don't see that happening. Now, in previous experience, Nigerians have seen that whatever committees, they are always like a diversionary agents. However, I think that is impossible at this moment, because as at the time the report was being presented to the governor on Monday, less than an hour later, the report was on the internet. So because the report is out today, it is very difficult for the white paper committee to even go against the report. One, it is difficult for the white paper committee to say, oh, the report is fake, because it was that now a member of the panel, Barrister Ebuadegburu SAN, has said the report outside is not fake. And he also said you can even release the copy he has with him. So which simply means that I don't believe the white paper committee, they will be an agent of diversionary tactics or an agent that will not allow justice to be done. I see them doing their work simply because the report is in public already. So because the report is in public, these are people with integrity. Moyosore Onigbanjo is a seasoned lawyer and will not want politics to stain his record. He's from an illustrious family. He has done well for himself, same as other people on the panel. And this is an issue that has to do with human rights. The world is watching. The American embassy, US, Canada, European Union, they've released a statement even on this report alone. So it is very difficult for anybody to divert justice at this level. So I believe, as I've said earlier, the governor will do the right thing by allowing this white paper committee to do their work, and also the white paper also will be in consonance with the reports, with the recommendation of the judicial panel, in the interest of justice for Lagosians, for Nigeria, and for human rights.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tosin. Now, since the report came out, the federal government has been silent on it. What is your view on that?
Oh
They have
well,
not published the
okay.
federal
Well,
government.
I think the reason why the federal government is silent is because the reports the reports actually ruffled a lot of feathers. Let me use that word. Somebody like July Mohammed has gone everywhere saying tonight they use blank bullets. So how do you want him to come back again to say, oh, people died, there was killing, there was shooting? So I know they are quite stunned by that report. Even me as a person, I did not have any belief in that panel for a day because I've seen the way panels have always started in Nigeria. But this panel won my heart and they changed my opinion that we still have people that can stand. So and for me, whether the federal government say anything or they don't say anything, it is immaterial. Immaterial because the world is watching. Immaterial because the Lagos State governor has promised to allow the panel to work, and the panel has worked, and he has also promised to make the report public by himself, and we are waiting for that. And has also promised that the white paper committee will bring recommendations in 14 days. So we are waiting. We are holding on to Sanwo-Olu at this level. We don't have any business with the federal government. Our interest is in the state government to do justice and ensure that justice is served.
All right, Tosin, many thanks to you for creating time to join us this morning on Inside Nigeria here at the Leadership Television Abuja.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a
All right,
pleasure.
additional Tosin is an activist and public affairs analyst. He has been speaking to us from his base in Lagos. Many thanks to you, Rishi. Now, Samaila, you saw, you had additional activist was involved in this in Lagos and has told us his own views. What do you have to say again before?
Yeah, really not much to say rather than just for all of us to keep commending that committee. You know, these are people who have chose, for the courage they chose to write their names in gold, and history. Because NSAS is one of those events when you mentioned June 12th, they're in that category.
Yes.
It will never go for a very long time. It will not go away from our memories. And you see, they've started even doing the anniversary of it. So at each time the anniversary of NSAS comes up, this panel will always come, their names will always prop up to say, oh, some people actually did the right thing when it matters most, and also Governor Sanwo-Olu also did the right thing. I mean, it's very rare to see a sitting governor whose party is actually the ruling party allow this kind of committee to work without any interference, and so when they do well, we also commend them that they have done a very good one. And this is actually encouraging for us that
Tosin also said something that out of about 24 states that constituted the panel of inquiry against police brutality, apart from Lagos and a few others, that many did not deliver.
No, the point is that a lot of them did not even sit for one day.
Exactly.
So if they will even remember when they see this kind of report, they will even remember that, oh, we were even members of one committee to look into something, because they knew it was just a carried ab issue. So really, it's not a big deal. It's just the normal Nigerian way of doing it.
One other thing again, with this NSAS report now, test report, what it means is that, like they started the anniversary, it's going to be an official, in quotes, anniversary.
No, it will continue.
Of course, it will continue.
The event will be remembered. People that died will be remembered.
It will continue. And in fact, one of the things that will also go a long way is to start seeing some of the sanctions mentioned to, some people who. So because that will now
justice must be done.
Yeah,
people will calm down.
People will calm down. That yes. Even people who lost their loved ones, we know that justice are actually prevail in the long run.
Let me tell you, after the panel report in Lagos was submitted 2 days ago, I saw a proposal somewhere that the Lekki toll gate should be named NSAS toll gate.
Yes,
You can see.
Yeah.
So it will
and that will happen one day.
It's a matter of time, and depending on the leadership and their ideology.
Yeah.
All right, many thanks to you, Samuel Musa, for joining us this morning on Inside Nigeria. We hope to see more of you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, Winifred, it's time to go.
We had a fruitful celebration today.
Yes, exactly. Many thanks to you, viewers, for being with us from the hours of 10 to this moment. Make it this with us tomorrow, Friday, for the last edition of Inside Nigeria for the week. From I am Winifred, it's bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.